Hi, I'm Julie Hornock, and this is United in Autism. I'm so excited today to be discussing some really serious issues with Denise Wetzel. Denise is from Moscow, Idaho, and it's a tiny little town with a whole lot going on with special needs and with autism. I see Denise is on there, so I'm going to try and send her a little invite. Denise, you on, and we'll pull you in. And I'm really, really excited about what we have to talk about today. It's a very serious issue. It's one that I don't hear people talking about. Hey, Denise.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so excited to have you today. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So we have a serious topic to discuss today. And before we get to it, I'd like to can you tell us about your two boys? Because you have two boys on the spectrum.
Yes, I have two boys. My oldest is Mark. He's 17 now. He's a junior in high school. And he has significant challenges, we'll say. And then Joshua, what I call my little one, way taller than me now. He's 13. And he is higher, considered, quote unquote, higher functioning.
Okay.
But they're both have the same diagnosis on the autism spectrum disorder.
Okay, and so with two boys, we're going to discuss puberty today. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and then your son, your oldest, and now your youngest, actually attacked you at one point, and that's what I feel like this is very common, and there's a lot of shame involved, and there's a lot of people don't know where to go. People feel alone when this happens because you're scared. You're scared of your son a little bit. And you're scared of what could happen if people find out about it a little bit. And I want to really thank you for your bravery today in discussing this with all of us and everyone that may watch. I think it's going to be a huge help. So I'd like to just kind of start about discussing puberty because my daughter is the one affected with autism in our family. And so when my son, I have two sons also that are just typical boys. I mean, no one's really typical, but they're typical and neurotypical. And what I saw with him going through puberty was anger that came up with, I think, every surge of testosterone. And he had the words to express his anger, and he did very freely for quite some time. But I cannot imagine then you have that angst and that anger in a child's body that they don't understand it and can't express it. So tell me a little bit about going through it with your boys.
Yeah, so with Mark, my oldest, I think, most people might consider him terrible because he doesn't have a lot of language. He can say simple, requests like Cheetos, it's his favorite, pizza, pasta, things he likes to eat, or go jumping, go for a walk, go swimming. But yeah, you're not going to sit down and say, Mark, how was your day? And he's going to say, how are you? And he'll say good, because he's learned that's how to answer it. So when this happened with him, it was really, really perplexing because he didn't have the words to tell me what he was feeling. Obviously, I knew something was not right. And then, of course, as a mom, my first instinct is like, he might be hurting inside, like physically, which is always another worry of mine, because I always wonder, man, what if he has an appendicitis? And it's like, how would I get information? He can't tell me my kid hurts. He wouldn't even have the words. So that was very challenging with him. And with my younger son, he's a lot more verbal, and his anger came from place that you would never guess. It's like he's terrified of going to high school, and that's why he's lashing out at it. And it's just it's still, to me, it seems perplexing, but at least he has the words to put, with his anxiety is, and why this is happening.
Well, and I think sometimes even alleviating what the anxiety is, it's chemistry, and it's caused from the hormones in the body, and that can't necessarily be controlled. I don't know how you can't see it coming and you can't control it. And I think specifically, like when I got to go through puberty with two kids at once. My son went through it a little later, and my daughter went through it early. And so basically every single day for like 6 months to a year in my home, my daughter was crying and my son was yelling at me. And so it was such a delight to be a mom. But I think what I noticed with him, and I've talked to other boy moms that experience this, there is some kind of something that as a man that makes them want to kind of almost like dominate the mom. And I hadn't heard, when this happened, I hadn't heard anyone talk about it before, where my son, he would say no to me and he wouldn't back down. And because he was taller than me and bigger and stronger than me, it was like I was just at a loss. And so I didn't know what to do. And thankfully my husband is there to step in to say, no, you will do this. You will do what your mom says. But I've talked to a mom that is a single mom, as many autism parents are, and she had to call the cops because you have to have backup. And so I know you saw that with your boys as well, right?
Yes, I did have to get some intervention with my oldest son. And with my youngest, I actually did call the sheriff's department because we live in the county now. And I gave them a heads up about what was happening and that I might need support to get, to the emergency room where we could get some help. But I felt the same thing. I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about it. But once I said something to like some of my very close friends, they were like, oh yeah, that happened to me. That happened to me. Seriously, I had no idea, they had gone through this similar thing. But I think it's kind of what you mentioned before about the shaming. It's like you feel like you did something wrong, and you really didn't. But I know it's and it even took me a good 3 weeks before I even could talk to anybody about what happened.
Wow. Well, let me read it. I want to save the actual story for the book so that they can read the story of what happened in the book. But I do want to read it, kind of an excerpt, because your story tore at my heart. It was a different part of autism. Autism's so different for everyone that I hadn't experienced. And I can only imagine the complication of emotion. So I'm going to read this really quick. I felt angry my son had tried to hurt me. I felt heartsick he was handcuffed because I knew he did not understand what was happening to him. I felt afraid for what this meant for our future. I felt tenderness toward the sweet, innocent little boy inside a man's body. I was scared of him, and yet I wanted to hold him in my arms and save him all at the same time. And I think that kind of that tear of a mother between, so he attacked you, and we'll save the story for the book, but he attacked you and he ended up in a hospital handcuffed trying to get medication, and you're standing there and you're having all these emotions wash over you, and you're trying, I can't imagine the conflict, because it's like he's still, his mind, and he's a little baby, he's a little boy, but he's got this giant body that can hurt people. And so maybe share a little bit about what was going through your mind, and maybe even advice to other moms and dads that are dealing with this, because it's happening all the time with our kids with autism when they can't express themselves.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is definitely don't take it personally. And again, as you had alluded to earlier, it seems like they do come to the mom, and I think it's just because they come after the mom, it's because they're the most familiar with that person.
Right.
Okay. Because, we could be walking down the street and he wasn't going to go, stranger, but he knew me. And so that's where, his anger was placed. So it's like, definitely don't take it personally. I literally cannot control it. Believe me, I know my son very well. He would never do this out of malice or just for no reason at all. There's definitely something, internal that was happening. So just, don't take it personally. It's not about you. But that was what was going through my mind when it was happening. It's like, what did I do wrong? That's kind of what I was feeling at the time.
Well, and the other thing, that your kid is a good kid and he's a sweet boy. And then to have this happen, I remember you saying it was kind of like an out of body experience, because it was like you were in someone else's life. Like, this is something you would hear about and be like, oh, this would never happen to me. This would never, not my kid, because my kid's a good kid. He comes from a good home with parents that love him. That wouldn't happen to me. And here, yet it's happening more commonly than I've ever heard. And it's happening right at the end of puberty and starting, and sometimes it's happening systematically after that over and over again. And then parents have a whole new idea of what they have to deal with. And so the biggest thing is, if you're a parent and this is happening, reach out to other moms with older boys, because I bet they have some good advice for you. I mean, Denise has some excellent advice. It is not personal. And you can even, like, I try and tell myself just with my kids sometimes when they're kind of nasty with me, it's a compliment, because they feel the most comfortable with me. Maybe that's how I make myself feel better, but they're the most comfortable with me. So they're going to be nasty with me. And then you were saying that the schools and others don't see any of this. It's only at home.
Yeah, that's one of the most frustrating parts for me as well, because, you know, I will say, you know, we're having some trouble at home. Oh, no, he's such a good boy. He does so great at school. You know, we're not seeing any of those problems here. Even when I took my little one to the emergency room, they said, well, if we don't see any behaviors in a couple of days, we're just going to send him back home with you. And so, you know, it terrified me, because I was like, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Right.
So it just show you how sometimes they can really keep it together in one setting, and then, you know, they get home, totally decompress, and, you know, then it's all bets off.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Have you found any type, I just wonder, have you explored like exercise and diet and stuff, and has that had any effect? If you have, I just was curious. I wonder if, like, when my son is acting that way, I make him go run what I call cul-de-sac laps. And literally my neighbors must think I'm crazy, because he runs in circles around out in front of our house. So I wondered if, I know you go on long walks, which is really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with Mark, I mean, Mark, my kids are really different too. So Mark just really likes to be active, and he wants to be out going for a walk or going for a hike. He goes to the trampoline park every week, you know, swimming, biking. He just really wants to be active. Joshua is completely the opposite. He's very much a homebody. He could just sit, plays video games all day, and be totally happy. So I think it's different for different kids, obviously. And I try to encourage Joshua more, because he's the one that doesn't want to be as active, you know, to get out and do something. We haven't done so much with the diet. We did when they were younger, but it's, you know, as you know, it's a little bit harder to
oh, I know.
Control.
My son's a holdout. Yeah, my son eats so junk food, and I think he's also 17, and so it's like I have no control. He, you know, and he just, there's nothing I can do. I cannot make him eat the way I want him to eat. And so, yeah, I get it. At that age, and I know you said likes Cheetos or cheese balls, like the ultimate. I know, and when they have those. Yeah, there's nothing. It's like, it doesn't matter how great of a mom you are. Like, it's that whole, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Yep, exactly.
Like, I feel like I missed my window with him. You know, I don't know when it was, but I missed it. So.
Yeah. And we set up certain parameters, you know, like he loves ice cream too. So he has it for the dessert, but, you know, he has to eat the meat on his plate first, you know, so he's earned his rewards, but yeah, I definitely loves his treats.
Yeah. Well, let's back up a little bit, because one of the big things about that I want to express in the book, and also just every time we talk, is the importance of reaching out to other moms that have been through this, because you cannot walk through autism alone, or you will be miserable and you will go over the edge at some point. I mean, we all go over the edge, even if we have support, but at least it's like, maybe you have a hand holding, and it's not like you're off the cliff. You can be pulled back on. But when when the kids were younger, so you were kind of in the midst of autism, and this is very common too, is you had a husband that traveled all the time. And so tell me a little bit about that, and basically single parenting while he's gone, and then how you reached out, and kind of how you thought of it, how you did it. Just share a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I was really fortunate, because there was a local group of parents. It's called Parents Supporting Parents, I think. And they met every week on Wednesday. They provided childcare. And that was my one time where I was able to get out of the house and meet other parents, talk with them. And I really looked forward to it, and it was totally invaluable. I met so many great friends through that process. And yeah, and it was great for not even just like behavior stuff. It's just like, well, where's a good dentist, that knows how to clean teeth on a child that won't sit still, and things of this nature. So it was just building that, that support was so valuable.
And I just think making, like, as a young parent, when you're going through it, it's really hard because you're so tired and you don't really want to talk to people. But I just want to encourage others to make yourself go out and meet with other moms, however it is. It doesn't matter where, how, when, but regularly try and meet with moms, because you will find yourself starting to look forward to it after you realize how valuable it is. And it really will be your sanity. It will keep you. Yeah, you have to know other people are.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was just saying, just to know you're not alone is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit. You're the director of development for Families Together. So tell me a little bit about Families Together and tell me what you do with them.
So I have been running Families Together for the past 2 or 3 years. And we provide support for families with children with all disabilities. And the Palouse, this is kind of, northern Idaho, and then eastern Washington, like on the border. So we we do have a parent support group going on right now that meets every second and fourth Saturday of the month. We provide some parenting classes that are kind of more like behavior based, about positive behavior support. We do an attachment and security classes for families who have newly diagnosed children less than 3 years old that are, helping to get that bond, which is so important when a child is very young.
Yeah.
Get that bond to stay. And then we just do lots of fun things too. So we'll have family community activities at the swimming pools in the summer. Right now we have some theater acting classes happening.
Fun.
Yes, and I really like those because I feel especially it can help with the kids on the spectrum, because so many times they have that mind blindness where they can't put themselves in somebody else's place, and that's what theater is. I mean, you have to pretend like you're somebody else, to do the role that you've been given. So we have lots of fun activities like that. And then we just provide one-on-one support too, outreach of parents who need help or support or need direction to how do I get services set up. We can point them in the direction.
Yeah, well, it's incredible, and it's an incredible resource for all the new moms. And I have found that when I'm talking to all these moms, one of the things they all have in common, which you do so beautifully, is at some point in their journey with autism, they take what they know and they reach out and help others. And it doesn't have to be in the realm of autism, but I think it's important because we think we have nothing left to give because we're giving so much. But when you give, and I'm sure you can share that too, but when you give, you actually get, and it energizes you in a way if you find the right way to give. And so thank you for what you're doing for our community and for the kids in your area and the families in your area. And I'm excited because part of what United Autism is doing is we're bringing free events for moms that is basically like a respite, super fun event. And I'm excited we get to do one together in September. So that'll be very fun. I'm looking forward to that. At the end, I always do like 10 quick questions. So these are just fun little facts to get to know you. So I'm just gonna ask them and you can answer. Do you like books or movies better?
Oh, wow. Well, I don't get to the movies much, so I guess you would say I like books, and I guess mostly I like kind of more like self-help type books. So really fiction. So we'll say books.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What is your favorite sport?
I don't like sports. I do some running. That's, I guess, if you can't count that as a sport.
That counts as a sport. Your favorite, where you want to go for like your dream vacation?
Oh, wow. I haven't thought about that for a while. Someplace warm, being in North Idaho, it would be nice to go someplace
Yeah, you said in the story in the book, you said it was really nice weather because it was above 20 degrees.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wanted to just put my coat on talking to you. Like, if it's below 80, I'm freaking out and wearing a sweater. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we used to live in Florida for a while, so I've kind of experienced both winds, and I definitely prefer the warm.
Yeah, me too. Would you rather endure an hour of stimming or an hour of a meltdown?
Stimming.
What is the last thing you spent a lot of money on?
Well, over spring break, our family went to Disneyland in California.
Oh.
So that little vacation, I would say we spent a good amount of money on, but we had a great time. So
how did that go? Did you get the disability pass? And
we did get the disability pass. I will say, but they're really serious about that. They asked me a lot of questions about my son and what he could and could not do, and yeah, they just don't give those things out. But
be like, hang out with us for an hour and you'll see.
I know, and he was right there. I'm like, just look at him and get you tell.
Oh, outside of your family, who do you admire the most?
Outside of my family, well, I think of family mostly. I know this is someone a lot of people admire, but Temple Grandin, I really love her story, and it gives you a lot of hope.
Yeah.
So I think probably.
Yeah, I mean, she's a complete inspiration to me as well. Just so what she's done with her life and how she's helped so many, and she's so passionate about it. I love it. What is your favorite ice cream?
Well, these are hard questions. I guess anything.
Okay, yeah. Favorite family tradition?
Well, we're getting ready to do one now this weekend, which is Easter's coming up. So we always on a Good Friday will color our Easter eggs. So that's something I did when I was a kid with my family. So continuing that little tradition.
Yeah, very fun. What is one thing you make sure to do for yourself?
Just take time. I mean, making sure that I'm taking the time I need for myself, because I'm very much an introvert, and I just need some quiet time and downtime sometimes. So, yeah. But if I don't schedule it, it won't happen. So I'm very serious about that.
And what is the therapy you felt has made the most difference?
So I am a total ABA believer. That's the only thing I've ever been able to actually get my son Mark to really learn different through like an ABA applied behavioral analysis type of teaching. So I'm really on the bandwagon.
Okay. And then do you have any advice, just to kind of final advice or anything else you'd like to share with the moms out there?
No, just reach out if in your area to other parents, and I'm sure if you look, you will find them.
Yeah.
And
I really believe if you just type in Google, like your town or the closest city by and autism, you'll have an organization that will support you. Like, it's in the United States. It's not like that everywhere, but for the most part here, we're getting pretty developed in that area. Well, you also have a blog, so I'm going to put so that everyone can learn more about your family. I'm going to put that below in the comments, and I'm going to put Families Together. I'm going to put that link as well so people can check out the charity that you volunteer in. And I just want to thank you again for opening up about this topic and really sharing with us. So we appreciate you. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Have a great afternoon.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye.